Dave Scott, Hub Media. Today I'm joined by Lynn Hines, Executive Director, Brant Haldeman Norfolk, CMHA. Thanks for coming back. You've got some really cool programs that you guys are getting involved with, and to be honest with you, I was really anxious to hear about it because I had talked to Grand River Community Health Center in the spring. They were doing working on this program as well. I'm trying not to give it away, so I'm going to let you have the floor and explain what CMHA is up to.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Dave. Really appreciate it. So CMHA Ontario has a number of services that it provides to the rural and agricultural community. For example, they have a farmer wellness initiative. They have a Guardian Network, which is a suicide prevention program for farmers. And they have a mental health literacy program called In the Know. And what we're really excited about is we're now going to be offering a fourth program under that umbrella, something called Agricultural Wellness Ontario, which through an investment from the Ontario Ministry of Food and Agribusiness will be reaching international agricultural workers.
Wow. So the overall program that you guys are starting, then what will you be doing? Are you feet on the ground here? What's sort of your capacity for it?
Yeah. So maybe just a little bit about the International Agriculture IAW community in Haldeman, Norfolk. So there are about 60% of IAWs who are integral to Ontario's agricultural economy, reside in either Windsor, Essex, or Haldeman, Norfolk. And that translates to about 6,000 people in any given season. And these are government sanctioned or government sponsored individuals that we're talking about. And typically they're from Mexico or countries in the Caribbean. Some Philippines and Vietnamese as well. So they live and work here amongst us. Those workers face very unique mental health challenges due to isolation, language barriers, and stressful work conditions. So they need mental health supports that are tailored to their specific needs. And so what we will be doing is offering culturally appropriate, responsive services around mental health promotion, some prevention workshops. We'll be working with our partners like Grand River CHC to make referrals to community services that may be helpful. And our goal is really to equip the workers with tools to manage stress, social isolation, and any other wellness concerns they may have in the language of their choice.
And you said 6,000? Is that the number I heard?
Yeah.
So obviously there's a tremendous need to have these types of programs, and they should be in place because I think you mentioned to me off air, like these are legal rights for everybody, right?
They are. Yeah. When a government sponsored worker comes to Canada to work and to contribute to our economy, they have legal rights, which includes access to services and various other things. So absolutely.
I think we got to look at this too, because we're lucky. It's a privilege that we get these folks that want to come up here and do this work, right? It's important. We need it. Our farmers need the help. And I've told you off air, some of my friends that are farmers welcome it. Like, you know what I mean? The workers are like family. So why would you not treat them and give them every opportunity to succeed, both physically and mentally? I think that's where you guys are headed towards these programs. And that's awesome. I really do. That's cool.
I think one of the really nice things about this program as well, and in the first year, what I described earlier is what we'll be doing. But in the second year, we're looking to expand some of the services that we provide through that to actually the farm operators to help them, because we know that they want to provide a great work experience for these folks as well. So to support them in how you actually create a mentally or a psychologically safe workplace. So we'll be developing some resources to help the farmers as well.
When does this program roll out then? Like, what's the time frame?
Yeah, so it's a 2-year pilot project. It's starting in Windsor, Essex, so they're a little bit ahead of us in terms of rolling it out. We will be getting up and running and now, and looking to be offering services in Haldeman, Norfolk in March, April next year.
And I'm glad that, because you brought up a good point, and I wanted to sort of go back to it, if you don't mind, is the isolation aspect of it. Like if you're working here 8 months of the year, and you're coming into a scenario where maybe you probably don't have any friends, right? Let's be realistic. You're going to develop those friendships, you hope, but I mean, it can be lonely, I would think too, right? Like,
I'm sure. I think about how important family is and friends, and you think about these workers who are doing almost committing a massive sacrifice to support their families, but in doing so, they're far away. They're not near. As their families grow and change, they're away from them, and mixed with people who they may or may not know from previous seasons, or may or may not come from the same geographic region within those countries. I can't imagine how isolating that must be. And so it just sort of lends itself to the idea that some mental health supports would be welcome.
And like you said too, if you get physically sick, there's definitely a mental downside to that, right? Depression, anxiety, other things may creep in. So this is kind of neat that you guys are all working together to give the worker the best experience they can have in Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. And no agency can do this alone,
Yeah.
Which is why we're so pleased to have partners like Grand River CHC, who are doing amazing work in this space as well. We'll be working with them on this project, and joining forces, as it were, pooling our resources to make sure that these workers have excellent supports in a number of different areas.
I really appreciate, because I know Lynn and I did a show, I think last year, on farm suicide, and we sort of talked about that. And I didn't realize at the time CMHA was involved in that aspect of it. And we had a viewer step up and talk about that happening in her family. And I thought it was I did not realize it was so critical, and especially when you got workers as well. This is a situation where we all need to be respectful and help as much as we can.
Yeah, it's a very stressful industry for everyone involved in it. And the program I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this session here, the Guardian Network is the one that you're thinking of, which is a volunteer-led suicide prevention program that is agricultural focused. Yeah.
And it's such a big industry in Haldimand, Norfolk, and in Essex too. Agriculture is part of who we are. So it's critical that these components are rolled out, especially in a timely fashion. And comparative to where we were probably 15 or 20 years ago, wow, you guys have made huge strides, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot happening. And the agricultural sector has made huge strides as well, in the sense of the growing seasons are longer. They have different equipment that allows that to happen, and so it's a sector that's changed significantly over time. And I think the supports that we're able to offer need to step into that space as well and change and evolve. And so this is a great opportunity.
One more question. What kind of, and I don't want to use the word setbacks, but what kind of roadblocks are you sort of seeing with this? Is there anything that you're like, oh, we got to be aware of this, that we can sort of, be aware of ourselves?
I think just really making sure that folks understand that we're supporting the workers, but also the farmers. We understand that they are an important part of this picture as well. We have awareness that there are language barriers. And so putting resources in place that speak to the various workers and the languages that they will require. So in year one, the workshops and the information that we have will be available in Spanish, French, and English. In year two, it will expand to Tagalog, which is a dialect from Central Philippines. And I've had some conversations with our Ontario division about the need to look at dialects like Jamaican Patois and other Creole-based languages as well.
I never even thought about that, because the languages are such a, without that, that communication gets broken down pretty quickly, right? And I think you brought this up to me off air, is that sense of belonging. When you can talk to someone that's in your same language, it makes a huge difference.
Well, that, and when you're not feeling well, you're stressed already. So to have to try and describe what's happening to you when you're in that space is really hard. And relying on family members or your employer in some cases to be able to communicate to a worker or someone who's trying to assist you, that's stressful in and of itself. So having the resources and the supports available through professional interpreters is really an important piece of the puzzle as well.
Wow. Congratulations. Like, I think this is an amazing program. We're going to have to revisit it down the road and see how things are going. Overall, how's things with the CMHA in Brantholm and Norfolk? How are you guys doing? You guys are busier than ever, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's busy. We have lots of things going on that are holiday driven. So we every year we have a number of events that we host with our clients and the kids of our clients. So lots of activity and excitement around getting those things geared up for the holidays.
Do you have a holiday message for the folks?
I do, if you don't mind. That would be lovely. So when we think about Christmas and the holidays, it can mean something different to every one of us. But whatever it means to you, please make sure that you take the time to care for yourself and your own mental health. And we wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from CMHA Brantholm in Norfolk.
Thanks for doing this, Lynn. Take care.
My very much pleasure. Take care.